Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be talking about if you're a real estate wholesaler, should you hire a virtual assistant to help you out? Okay, so your answer is yes, but if you want to stick around for the explanation of yes, watch this video. The reason why virtual assistants are in general great for any type of business because they help you direct your time and your energy that you have, because you're only limited on the time and energy that you have daily, towards something more important. So as a real estate wholesaler, you can hire a virtual assistant for multiple different things. But I recently hired a virtual assistant to do cold calling for me, and I want to give you my results and how that worked out. So number one, so where would you find a virtual assistant? There are tons of different websites that you can find a virtual assistant on. You can either do it like a Fiverr or Upwork, or there's other websites that if you literally just Google virtual assistant service for real estate investors / wholesalers, a lot of results should come up. So all those different companies, they offer this service. At this point, what's most important is that what are you trying to get out of your service? I've tried to do different things. So first what I did is I posted a job position on Upwork. And when you post on Upwork, what happens is that people that are qualified for this job, they message you. So I had a couple people message me saying, hey, I can do this job. And I'll be honest with you, most of them I didn't really like. What you really have to go by is how much do you want them to work and what is your budget. If your budget isn't high and you want them to work a lot of hours, most likely you will have to settle for a cheaper virtual assistant service, which will most likely lead to not as good of a service. Yes, you can still find, if you really are lucky or you find the person that's best for you. In virtual assistant world, just like anything else, you get what you pay for. So if you have a budget that's a little tight and you need to try to figure it out and get a cheaper virtual assistant, there's a higher chance maybe you shouldn't get a virtual assistant right now. In my opinion, it's either you're gonna have to go all in and hire a good virtual assistant so that you can actually get results, or what's the point of hiring someone for $4 or $5 an hour doing cold calling if they may not bring you any business? I mean, there's no guarantee that the more expensive virtual assistant will bring you any business. But in general, the rule is that the higher the money you spend on them, most likely there will be more quality people, or people that have more experience, they have better language skills, better cold calling skills, because those are the type of skills that you want in the virtual assistant that you will hire. So back to my story. So I used Upwork, like I said, and I posted the job description, and then afterwards some people applied and I did a couple interviews and I didn't really like. My biggest criteria with this was that the knowledge of English should be almost on the perfect level. And it's very hard because a lot of the virtual assistants are from overseas, and then maybe the knowledge of English is pretty good for wherever they're located. However, knowing the market I'm in, for example, I'm in a very hot market. I'm in Tampa, Florida, super hot, super competitive. It's gonna be hard to get a hold of people to start with. And then if they get a hold of them, and even if you make a slightest mistake in English, which I even do myself, and my English isn't perfect, and people hang up on me all the time. So I knew that if I was gonna hire someone, I really needed someone with a good knowledge of English and very almost perfect level of English, but it was very hard to find someone. The good part is I did find someone, and she was really, really good. She was from Jamaica and she had great English, and it was a great service. So what I ended up paying her was $600 for 5,000 calls. It's actually not too bad comparing to what I've seen. You can get it cheaper, you can get a little more expensive, but that's not too bad. She did 5,000 calls in about 6 days, which is pretty good because she was using Mojo Dialer, and she was using Mojo Dialer that I had, which was a triple line dialer. So that's another cost that you should implement if you're using someone. So technically she had her own Mojo Dialer, so she could have used her own Mojo Dialer to call, and she has a triple line dialer which is $180 a month. So if someone is reaching out to her and asking for her to call 600 leads, and if you don't have your own dialer, you can actually reach out to her and she will do that. So that was pretty awesome that she was offering that kind of service. Luckily for me, I had my own Mojo Dialer already set up, so I just told her to use mine because I can do call recording, and like for example, if she ever gets a lead, I go back, I listen to the conversation on the phone, and then I can kind of understand where they started, where they left off, to kind of get a feel of the person. So yeah, so she did 5,000 calls in 6 days, and it was pretty good. And actually one of those days she couldn't do calls because Mojo Dialer was down for half the day. So she probably could have done it within 5 days if I really wanted her to. And that's the great part about having the triple line dialer. It actually really helps. So if you're thinking about doing a virtual assistant service, first you have to figure out if they have their own software that they use, or are they gonna use yours. If they're gonna use yours, you should get a triple line dialer. It's $180 for a month, and it's definitely worth it. And you can use it for 1 month and then pause it or cancel it and just start a new one later on if you need it. Like for example, I'm going to cancel mine because I'm probably not going to be using one for the next couple of weeks, and maybe I'll start later on. So I want to be smart about my money, so I may cancel and just start it back on later on. So the results of her calling 5,000 leads actually don't only depend on her calling. Her calls were actually very decent. What the problem was is that some of my leads were not good leads. I was actually tested out to run big list of estate of properties. Estate of properties are pretty much like probate properties that are, somebody passed away, the property is in estate, and we're trying to get a hold of potential owner, and it's very hard to do that. So she actually got a hold of a couple people through that list, and nothing came back through that list, unfortunately. But like I said, it all depends on the list itself. I mean, yes, you want to make sure the virtual assistant is good at what they do, but your list and your skip tracing service and your dialing service and all, like the voicemail that you pre-recorded and then the script that you gave the virtual assistant, all that adds up into a good experience. So let's say you hired a virtual assistant and the result didn't come back as what you wanted them to be. You can't really blame them for doing that, because let's say they did their job good and then you didn't provide them a good script, or you didn't provide them a good amount of leads or good leads, or the skip tracing service wasn't good. So there's could be many different things that went wrong. So you really have to assess it from that point of view after the virtual assistant job is done. So out of 5,000 leads that she called for me, only about 1,000 of them were vacant land, which is what I do mostly, and she got a decent amount of leads from there. I even put one property on the contract from there, however I wasn't able to sell it. So in that situation, I kind of analyze it this way. She did her job, she got me a lead, I put her under contract. Maybe what went wrong is that maybe I didn't negotiate good enough, or maybe I didn't realize what kind of part of city that property was. Then a couple other properties also tried to put it on the contract. I made them offers. A couple other properties I'm still working on. Like I've talked to them. However, it's still in the process because sometimes people don't really take it as seriously, like it's not a big rush for them. And that happens, especially when I deal with land. The houses is a little bit different. So sometimes I have to follow up within a month too, I still keep talking to them. So maybe something will still come through that list, but I don't know. At the particular moment, I haven't closed a single deal from that list. Next time, I'm already planning my next virtual assistant experience that I will do. I will not be using my own Mojo Dialer. If I already trust her, so I'll probably let her use hers, and then I will save $180. And during that time, I'm actually going to do more land deals than I did houses again, because that's what's worked for me. So, and because I have a good script for that, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm more skilled in that part of the business. So that all comes down to self-awareness and what you're good at, and what do you think your scripts are good for, and what you think that you're gonna be best at negotiating, because she will only, or he, they will only bring you the deal, and then you are the one that's gonna close on the deal. So it's a lot of your skill that will go into the procedure. So my final verdict, yes, it's very beneficial to you as a wholesaler, or obviously as an investor, to hire a virtual assistant, a cold caller. But it really comes down to a lot of different factors if it's gonna be successful overall. And a lot of those factors are actually dependent on you, not the virtual assistant themselves. So the best way to do it is kind of try to perfect your other stuff before hiring the virtual assistant. And I've kind of tried, and I thought I had good scripts, but like I said, it's still a learning experience for me. So I kind of understood what I should change next time I'll be doing a campaign with her. So I'll be more prepared next time. And that's what you will do as well. Maybe you don't have to run a 5,000 phone number campaign. Maybe you can run a 1,000 number for $100. I don't know how much it will cost, but I'm saying it could be a much smaller list just to try it out. But yeah guys, so that's my experience with first time hire a virtual assistant, a cold caller for my business. I think it's very beneficial, like I mentioned before. I think you just have to make sure all your procedures throughout the process are very good and you know what you're doing. You guys can like this video, comment down below if you have any questions, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. And as always guys,